What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. We're here once again with some more Pokemon Go. Today, I'm using the least accessible Pokemon in the entire Open Great League meta, Shadow Alolan Marowak. This Pokemon was only available to evolve for about a week, a couple years ago. If you don't have your Shadow Alolan Marowak evolved now, you basically can't get one. You can't trade with friends, you can't catch it in grunts. It is an impossible Pokemon to get right now. So I wanted to see how it would do in the Go Battle League. Let's take a look. Alright, so getting into game number 1, we have our Vigoroth against a Toxapex. This is a very neutral matchup, although the Toxapex does resist our counters, and our Body Slams will chip it down over time. I don't really have a great answer for Toxapex with this team, because I have Shadow Kingdra and Shadow Alolan Marowak in the back, which both don't really want to see this for one reason or another. We're just going to start spamming out Body Slams here and see how they want to play it out. They threw it out on 10, so this could be a Sludge Wave. I'm making the call it's a Brine, but it actually is the Sludge Wave. I'm going to swap to my Kingdra here so they don't farm down my Vigoroth and see how they want to play it out. They're going to build up energy here and throw right before I get the Outrage. I'm going to shield it. It could be another Sludge Wave. We'll see what they end up throwing. It's Brine Bait, actually. That would have done nothing if I would have no-shielded it. And a Diggersby comes in. This is a quick attack Diggersby, so it does have a decent amount of fast move pressure against me. At this point, I'm feeling a little bit scared about this. I have my Marowak in the back that really doesn't want to be in this matchup, but they let me get to this next Octazooka before they throw a Scorching Sands. This is really nice, because now we can see what they want to do. Are they going to shield up their Diggersby? They do. And I still have that Body Slam and some counter damage I could get off with my Vigoroth. This Scorching Sands after that debuff doesn't even knock us out. This is a bit of an awkward farm down. They do have a lot of energy here, but we can come in with Vigoroth, throw the Body Slam, and try to take out this Diggersby. They might shield because of all the energy they have, but if they do, now it's kind of in range where Marowak can deal with it. They end up letting it go, and we just have to hope that the final Pokemon is something that's not super strong against Alolan Marowak. The Toxapex comes back in, and the final Pokemon we see is the Trevenant. Trevenant is a very scary Pokemon to see for my Ghost-type Pokemon, but I also have the Fire-type damage that's doing even more damage than they can do to me. The Fire Spins should be able to barely fast attack them down right before they get to their next move, and they top left. Let's go, Marowak, taking game number 1. Next up here, Vigoroth into Talonflame. A bit of an awkward matchup. I have no fast move pressure basically into this thing, but I do have Rock Slide that could one-shot it. I'm going to bait the Body Slam, see if I can get a shield here. If they no-shield this, that's a very smart call. We can see what they do. They end up calling it. If I would have Rock Slided their, they would have got basically nothing out of their Talonflame. Unfortunately, they end up calling it, and they Brave Bird me. That's a crazy moveset to have on Talonflame. I could have maybe shielded that and tried to get something else out of my Vigoroth, but it's just gone now. And we see the Lickitung come in. So Talonflame, Lickitung, an interesting team so far. Not the most common team that you might expect here. And now that my Vigoroth's down, how am I going to take out this Lickitung? Well, first of all, I get a nice bait with Octazooka. They thought it was an Outrage, and now Marowak, even though I'm taking super effective lick damage, I take absolutely no damage from the charge moves. Except for Hyper Beam, apparently. They're running Hyper Beam Licky, they're running Brave Bird on Talonflame. What are these movesets? I guess we're just going to try to Bone Club down this Lickitung. Hopefully they don't get to another Hyper Beam, because the licks are adding up over time, even with that double debuff. We're going to see what they throw. It should just be a Body Slam. Hyper Beam is a very expensive move. Yeah, just another Body Slam coming through, and we have so much energy left over here on our Marowak. They actually come back in with Talonflame. They get the farm down here with our Marowak, and Serperior comes back in. Serperior, a very rare Pokemon to see in Summer Cup, but our Marowak loves to see it. We have 2 Shadow Bones, and we have Kingdra, and we have shields left over. We're in a very good spot to win this game. Shadow Bone lands, they see the writing on the wall, they top left, or they forfeit the match, and we take that game. Next matchup here, we have our Vigoroth into Agreedent. Another pretty decent lead here for Vigoroth. And they swap out instantly into their own Vigoroth. I can throw my move first, see how they want to play this out, and I can potentially try to catch a move on my Marowak if I want, but it is kind of hard to, judge when are they going to throw the move. I catch on 3. Apparently that was the right timing because they throw the Body Slam right then. If I wouldn't have got this catch right, it could have been a little bit awkward here because they could Rock Slide me, right? I'm still outside of Rock Slide range, so I'm comfortable no-shielding this, and they could also potentially bait me here, which they do. That bait is a bit wild in my opinion because I'm not even threatened by the Rock Slide. So I have a ton of energy, I have a ton of health here left over too, and if that Greedent comes in, there's a chance it's running Trailblaze instead of running Crunch. Trailblaze is going to be able to hit a lot of the water types in this meta. Crunch obviously would be better against Skeledirge, against AWAC, against, I guess, Jellicent, but Crunch works, there as well. So we'll have to see exactly how they are going to play this out. It's a Trailblaze. It actually is a Trailblaze Greedent. And I don't want to give them a huge mud shot down against my Alolan Marowak there. I can get some extra counter damage, and see if they're going to swap it out, or are they just going to try to stay in with their boosted Greedent. They did stay in for a minute, but then they catch on their Tropius. A little bit awkward. I wish I wouldn't have thrown this right when they caught, but sometimes that's how the game works. And now we can just start spamming out Rock Slides. Rock Slide is super effective. It does about 50% of Tropius' health here. And they're going to have to start shielding, yeah. And I can get to another one if they don't throw energy. And they don't. I throw in a little bit of bad timing because I didn't want them to CMP me and make it so I couldn't get this Rock Slide off. But just getting this move off basically means now I can farm them down with Marowak, they can see it, and I take that game. So getting into the next game here, we have our Vigoroth into a Tropius. We just saw this play out a second ago where we do have Rock Slide to hit back against this Tropius, but they resist our fast moves. So we're not going to do a ton of damage unless we land these moves here. Rock Slide's going to come through. It's likely it's going to get no shielding because Tropius is pretty bulky. It's not even going to do that much. And they can get to 2 Leaf Blades before we get to 2 Rock Slides. I can get to a Body Slam potentially before their next Leaf Blade, but I don't want to risk it, and I just want to get the knockout here if I can. They go for the Leaf Blade before I get that Rock Slide, as I said. I'll shield it up, and I'm fine building up a little bit of extra energy here and trying to Rock Slide this thing after a little bit more farming to take it out. I wouldn't be surprised to see them let this go, just be happy with their shield advantage and basically knocking out my Vigoroth, and that's exactly what happens here. They come in with a Stunfisk, rather. Stunfisk is a very tricky Pokemon to see, especially when I'm down shields and my Vigoroth is going to get farmed down. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to spam out as much damage as I can here with this Vigoroth. And, I mean, the problem is Ufisk has so much energy. I'm going to swap to my AWAC because they no-shield that, and they swap at the same time as me. They don't throw their super effective moves. So maybe there's a chance this game. There's going to be a Psychic Fangs coming through. I know I can survive this. And since I got a sneak through there, I know I can get to 2 moves. Oh, it was a CMP, rather. I can get to 2 moves before they get to the farm down here. Bone Club wouldn't knock them out at that range, but Giraffe is super squishy, so I don't think they want to take that risk. Bone Club's coming through here. Are they going to shield it? They do. And now my Kingdra does see a win condition. The Ufisk has a ton of energy, so I need to make a catch on my Vigoroth if I want a chance to win this game. I can survive 1 move from this Giraffe. I don't take that confusion. It's all going to come down to a catch. I wait, and they call it. They don't throw their energy, so I'm going to lose this game. Well played to them. I almost had a chance because they kind of swapped when I swapped, but they still were patient enough not to let me get that catch off. Good games to them. Moving on to the next one. Vigoroth into Vigoroth. This mirror matchup is always very annoying, in my opinion. It depends on who wins CMP, who can win the Zero Shield matchup, or, you know, maybe I'll try to make a catch, maybe I won't. I always try to play this matchup out a little bit differently, so people don't know exactly what I'm going to do. They throw their energy here, too, so I don't know who wins CMP. They didn't throw it instantly, and I did. Oh, and I shield the Body Slam this time. So they'll get to the Body Slam right now, and I can catch this move, because they have to throw, right? They have to throw right then, or maybe they could swap out and store the energy, but if they don't throw right then, my Vigoroth could counter them down. They bring in a Charjabug. I don't know why. And I think that should be game. I think that's probably a misclick by them. Maybe they had another grass type in the back. Maybe they were just, a misclick there. Either way, GG's to them. And moving on to the next one, a Skeleturge lead. Skeleturge is a Pokemon that I honestly prefer to have in this matchup. I would rather be the Skeleturge than the Vigoroth, because I need to land charge moves, and I have no fast move pressure, whereas they have a ton of fast move pressure into me. They shield the Rock Slide, and I know they're going to Disarming Voice after 1, that's good timing, and so I'm going to swap, I'm going to catch the Disarming Voice on my Marowak. Now I know that they're not at their next Shadow Ball, so I can build up even more energy here. Shield this move now. I know it could be a Shadow Ball. I'm going to respect it. I don't want to get one shot, but they do bait me, so good bait by them. And they end up coming with a Vigoroth of their own. Unfortunately, Marowak doesn't have great charge move coverage here for Vigoroth, because Bone Club is a very bad move. You can see here, it does almost nothing. It's mainly going to be the fast move pressure that's going to do the most damage in this matchup, and it's a struggle to get through this thing. It's not like Skeleturge into Vigoroth where my fast moves and charge moves all do a lot of damage. It's all just kind of like a little bit of damage, and eventually you'll start whittling down the Vigoroth. The frame drops here kind of made me worry that they'd get to a Rock Slide before I could get the next Bone Club, so I end up swapping to my Vigoroth, making them throw energy here, and I know that the Skeleturge is probably going to come back in. This is very scary, right? We gave them a ton of energy here. Now they can farm me down. If they get to a Shadow Ball against my Marowak, I think I'd probably lose this game, because then they could get to a Disarming Voice after 2 more Incinerates before I could even get to a move on my Kingdra. So my only win condition right now is to hope that they're not at the Shadow Ball. I don't think they are. I think they only have 2 Incinerates. It should be a Disarming Voice, and that's exactly what it is here. We can throw 1 Fire Spin, then throw the Shadow Bone. This should knock out the Skeleturge. And we just have to see what's in the back and hope that our AWAC or our Kingdra has a good matchup here. a Whimsicott. You don't see Whimsicott too often here. Luckily, with our energy lead, we have enough energy to get to the Shadow Bone before they could get to a Seed Bomb. Throw the Shadow Bone, and it does so much damage. Another frame jump happens there, which maybe made it so the damage didn't register against this Whimsicott, but at this point, I know I can Dragon Breath this down with my Kingdra, and before they get the move, we Dragon Breath it down, we take the win, and Shadow Kingdra, showing off a little bit of why it's so good. Look how much damage that Shadow Dragon Breath damage was doing to the Fairy type. Next match here, Vigoroth into Vigoroth, yet another Vigoroth mirror match. I was saying earlier how I really don't like this matchup and how I try to play it out a little bit differently every time. Last time I shielded, this time they actually throw on CMP here, so we know that I will never win the Zero Shield matchup. Sometimes I also like just soft losing this matchup, getting some sort of advantage on my backline. And we can see what I'm going to do here this game. 5 more counters to reach the next Body Slam. Probably going to be a CMP yet again, and it is. So we are just going to soft lose the Zero Shield matchup. We can get a farm down with probably our Kingdra here so that we can try to get a lot of damage onto whatever comes in now. The next Pokemon that is brought in is going to be the Toxapex. Toxapex is a very bulky Pokemon, but these Dragon Breaths shred through it. It doesn't even look like Toxapex is a bulky Pokemon with how much damage we've already done. Outrage would do a ton of damage here. They know that, they end up shielding it, and they're going to throw a move at me here. Sludge Wave, it does knock me out, but I know that my Shadow Alolan Marowak takes no fast move pressure against this Toxapex. I can build up a lot of energy here, and again, try to set myself up for a Marowak sweep. And another funny thing about this matchup, super effective Bone Club might be tempting to throw, but Shadow Bone actually does more raw damage here. So if I don't want to expend 2 moves, I can just throw the Shadow Bone, knock them out like that, and it's a Charge-a-Bug in the back, which means now I can just start throwing Shadow Bones again, and Fire Spin damage should be enough to take this thing out in the 2-shield, or in the 1-shield matchup here. Charge-a-Bug is building up energy, and we get the sneak through. We just shield this once, and we farm them down. Shadow Alolan Marowak once again closing out the endgame matchup here. And with that, we can see we got a nice positive set here that's actually going to take us into the 2600s. We were able to climb pretty far with this team. Honestly, Shadow Alolan Marowak behaved way better than I thought it was going to. I actually saw Lyle Jeffs, a Canadian battler, someone who won 2 regionals this season. He was using it yesterday. I kind of inspired him to use the Shadow Gyarados. He inspired me to use the Shadow Alolan Marowak. And honestly, it worked out way better than I thought it was going to. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream these kinds of battles basically every day on twitch.tv/itsaxon, so if you want to see this kind of content live, make sure to check me out there. Thanks again, I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.